Hello and welcome to Muscle for Life. I'm Mike Matthews, your host. Thank you for joining me today. And if you like Muscle for Life and Mike Matthews, go ahead and subscribe to the show in whatever app you are listening in because one, it'll make sure you don't miss any new episodes. They will be automatically queued up for you to review and listen to as you like. And two, it will help me because it will boost the rankings of the show on the various charts. And that, of course, helps other people find Muscle for Life and Mike Matthews. Okay, so this episode is another installment in my Says You series where I address things that people disagree with me on, which I always like to hear. I am kind of an argumentative person by nature, and so I often reach out to Instagram followers. That's usually where I do it. I'll put up a little Ask Me Anything story, tag, sticker, whatever they call it, but I'll ask people to give me things they disagree with me on. So if you want to tell me something that you disagree with me on, you can email me, mike@muscleforlife.com, or you can follow me on Instagram @muscleforlifefitness and look for those stories that I put up every so often to get more grist for the podcast. And so in this episode, I am going to be talking about something that I have heard many times over the years, but I realized I have not publicly and specifically addressed. And that is the claim that you should not ever eat fewer than a certain number of calories every day. 1,200 is a number that has been thrown around a lot, specifically for women. Sometimes it's 1,500 for women. And for men, sometimes it's a little bit higher, 1,600, 1,800, or even 2,000 calories per day. Now, if you do eat less than whatever the number is, the legend goes, many misfortunes can befall you, including metabolic damage, extreme hunger, malnutrition, hormonal disruptions, muscle loss, mood disturbances, menstrual irregularities, the list jabbers on and on. And I often hear from people who are concerned by this theory because some evidence-based formula or calculator, usually one of my own, is telling them to eat what they believe is a dangerously low number of calories every day. Now, fortunately, a true universal caloric minimum would be much lower than any of those numbers that I gave you because many people just don't burn as many calories as they think they do. And even when calories are inappropriately low, the purported consequences are often overblown. For example, a 5'5", 130-pound woman who exercises 1 to 3 hours per week burns about 1,700 calories per day. And if she wanted to lose about 1 pound of fat per week, and that would be moderate, reasonable weight loss, she would need to eat about 1,200 calories per day. Now, if we make her 5'10" and 160 pounds, her total daily energy expenditure rises to nearly 2,000 calories per day. And then if we increase her exercise to 4 to 6 hours per week, it reaches 2,300 calories per day. And finally, if we now calculate her new caloric target at 5'10", 160, 4 to 6 hours of exercise per week, and we calculate for 1 pound of fat loss per week, we get 1,800 calories, virtually lean gaining for her smaller and more sedentary self. And this works the same way in men. A 5'7", 160-pound guy exercising 1 to 3 hours per week will burn about 2,100 calories per day, whereas a 6'3", 200-pound dude exercising 4 to 6 hours per week, he'll burn almost 3,000 calories per day. So saying that nobody should ever eat less than some arbitrary amount of calories every day is like saying that they should never drive slower than 55 miles per hour on the highway. Well, what if they have engine trouble? What if there's traffic? What if it is raining pitchforks outside? Such advice is just too schematic. Now, how low should you go when you're cutting? Because there is a caloric threshold that you shouldn't cross, right? Well, yes, there is, because if you restrict your calories too heavily, you won't damage your metabolism, you won't detonate your hormones, you won't disintegrate your muscle, you won't otherwise derange your physiology, but you're not going to have a good time. Negative side effects, often associated with semi-starvation dieting, very low-calorie dieting, can and often do become more pronounced if calories are too low. So, based on the findings of research on the effects of energy availability on athletic men and women, when you're cutting, I recommend a cutoff of 8 to 10 calories per pound of body weight per day for both men and women, regardless of activity level. Meaning, don't eat less than 8 calories per pound of body weight per day. And that's probably most applicable to men. In women, I would say the cutoff is going to be a little bit higher, around 10. But some women do find that, especially toward the end of a cut, where they are trying to go from lean to very lean, and they are trying to lose the last bits of fat, and they are exercising as much as they can within reason, they have to eat 9 calories per pound of body weight per day, or even 8 calories per pound of body weight per day. But generally, the ideal cutoff for women is a bit higher than the ideal cutoff for men because of the extra energy demands of the more complex female reproductive system. Now, one other matter I want to quickly comment on is the nutritional component of dieting, because some people say that by eating significantly less food than usual, by eating 1,200 calories per day or 1,400 or 1,800 per day, you can develop irritating insufficiencies or even debilitating deficiencies. And that's just not true. Not if you get most of the calories that you are eating from relatively unprocessed and wholesome foods like lean protein, fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, seeds, and the like. And if you really want to ensure that your body is adequately nourished when you are cutting, just include a high quality multivitamin like Legion's Triumph in your regimen. All right, well, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting and helpful. And if you did, and you don't mind doing me a favor, please do leave a quick review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to me from, in whichever app you're listening to me in, because that not only convinces people that they should check out the show, it also increases search visibility, and thus it helps more people find their way to me and learn how to get fitter, leaner, stronger, healthier, and happier as well. And of course, if you want to be notified when the next episode goes live, then simply subscribe to the podcast and you won't miss out on any new stuff. And if you didn't like something about the show, please do shoot me an email at mike@muscleforlife.com, just muscle, F-O-R, life.com, and share your thoughts on how I can do this better. I read everything myself, and I'm always looking for constructive feedback, even if it is criticism. I'm open to it. And of course, you can email me if you have positive feedback as well, or if you have questions really relating to anything that you think I could help you with, definitely send me an email. That is the best way to get a hold of me, mike@muscleforlife.com. And that's it. Thanks again for listening to this episode, and I hope to hear from you soon.